My friends, I thought I would share this video with you. I've done plenty of flyovers of Morganton, North Carolina before. This one's a little different approach, different way that I'm shooting it. And, you know, it's kind of cool that I shot it this day after Hurricane Sally had come through, the remnants of it. You can see all the mist off in the distance there. So everything's kind of wet, but it's pretty. It was this morning, September the 18th, 2020. And I'm doing this video specifically for an episode of Investigation Discovery, which is pretty neat. My wife and I watch all their shows on ID. It's a nice shot of Table Rock and Hawksbill off in the back off there, and that's the Jonas Ridge. Mountains on the other side of that is the Linville Gorge, very famous worldwide. But anyway, this is Morganton, North Carolina, and usually I'm doing a lot more herky-jerky flying around and looking at stuff, and it's more non-professional than this. I'm trying to fly very smooth and careful and measured kind of movements, because if you've ever watched an Investigation Discovery episode, one of their things, they use this sort of shot. So I've seen this over and over and over again, this exact same thing. And what it is, they need establishing shots, and there's a new show, I think it's called Courtroom Chaos, or Chaos in the Courtroom or something. So that is our courthouse on the right there. That kind of beige looking building that's coming about center screen now. And so they wanted some shots that had the courthouse in it. They had found some of my videos on YouTube and saw that I posted 4K aerial video and asked if they could license some of that. And I said, yeah, of course. And but then as I looked at the video that I had, some of it was some of it was old, from 2016 or 17. And then even the video I've shot most recently had some things sort of like our hotel. It's off behind the old courthouse now, that center screen, actually up at the end of the street there. It was still with kind of purple siding and stuff on it. And I wanted them to have some really late, just recent as I could get it, shots of Morganton, and to center on the courthouse, since what they're doing is they're showing about just crazy things that happen in the courtroom. People getting mad, flying off the handle and attacking and going after folks. They've aired one episode of it, and I was very honored, honestly. That's a Grace Episcopal Church in the bottom down there that I'm kind of hanging over the top of. I love the old turret down there at the bottom. So I'm flying toward the courthouse. I did not realize that the courthouses had been set up as non-fly zones. So as I approached that, I got probably about where the street is there. I'm trying to get across the street real quickly, and I don't want to endanger anybody at all, but I got to right along here somewhere, and it told me NFZ. And so I think that's totally cool that they've done that. And I realized, oh, wait a minute, can't fly over that. So I had to do some arcs around it. And I think right about there it was telling me, no. So I quit and started doing some back-offs. So that's cool. I did not realize that. I've not flown close enough to the courthouse recently to know that. So, and that makes sense. You wouldn't want somebody doing something nefarious with a drone around the courthouse, so I stayed away from it. That is the beer place there. What's it called? Oh, great day, Catawba Brewing, where the stainless steel. You can see it there on the right now. I've changed my angle a little bit. That's looking right straight down Union Street, and actually what I was doing, I was just hanging there trying to remember how to level the horizon. Looked like the horizon was just slightly off, and maybe looking at it now, it doesn't look so bad. So I didn't even. I think I kind of stopped worrying about it. But I even thought, well, they might even be able to use a shot where you're just hanging there with the pretty clouds and stuff off in the distance. So this time I go over the old courthouse. That's the one with the yellow or gold type spire there sticking up. Again, many of you have seen my flights around Morganton. I've been sort of just documenting what the town looks like as it changes through the air. I don't know what they're doing on the courthouse square. See all the red dirt there coming into the foreground? They are getting ready to build something, I guess. Maybe it's part of a park or some addition. I have no idea. It's going to be very cool to find out. I imagine probably they'll have something finished in the spring. So yeah, they're off in the distance. Not in the distance, actually, before you get to the clouds on the tree line there. That is the new Fairfield Inn. That's the one I wanted them to have a shot of the town that didn't have that in. It was kind of ugly for a while there, the way they had it all, semi put together. So now it looks really good, and I fly out there. I haven't really looked at it from the air, so it's flying over past SunTrust and all. And this is the little Fauna Flora Brewery. Their pub is in the little triangular section there where the two streets meet. So I just come sort of over here, and then I turn around and go back. But I love the view of the mountains. The mountains look particularly really nice today. And that's looking back toward the South Mountains. I'm looking back toward the south and west there. So I've turned back around. That's the Methodist Church, the big steeple there in the middle. First Baptist way off to the right. And the steam you see coming up there, the smokestacks it looks like, is actually coming from the chicken processing plant, which is, I think Tyson owns it. And the old Victorian building there just before you hit the tree line is I think a Confederate colonel's house. It is now Morganton Federal, so it's kind of on the historic registry now, but it is actually a bank. So that's a pretty cool looking shot, looking south and sort of south and east. The cut on the mountain up there, someone bought the backside of that mountain over to the left, and you see their house sticking up there. Not anymore, I changed angles. But we're looking at Morganton Federal now, we're flying over it. But there is still a building on top of that hill up there in the center, and that is now a big barn. That is a big event place. It's not an old barn, it's brand new. And someone cut the trees off the top of that hill, and it is really a very beautiful spot. And I've been up there and actually flew a drone up to it, and I have a video somewhere where I'm trying to remember what it was called, some kind of barn meeting place. This is going back across Morganton Federal in the foreground. Look at the street. They got the street painted up there. I guess they've closed the street off there near one of the restaurants. I'm not sure why they've done that, but that's pretty cool, all the little colorful stuff that they've done. I've not been around there to see, but they're actually serving people at restaurants, and this is during the COVID crisis, and so everybody's trying to maintain the social distancing. They're doing a whole lot of restaurant work outside. So now we're coming straight on to the old courthouse going east. We're flying east, and this is the one where I just decided to get another shot of the courthouse in case they needed that. And since the sun was kind of bad here, that's in the foreground there. Right in the foreground is our Chamber of Commerce. We'll go ahead and give a shout out to those folks. But I stopped right here this time, said nope, not going to get too close to that NFC. And I started going around it to the left. And I just gave them a big arc. I thought, well, maybe they could use that. The sun's kind of harsh there, but still that's a interesting shot. So I kind of came back around and then back away a little bit. I'd never seen Morganton looking quite like this. Just like I say, after a big rain event and the steam coming up off the ground, fogging all around in places, I thought it was kind of mystical looking and kind of cool. Up on the hill to the right, the tall building that's brick is our City of Morganton Municipal Auditorium. The tall part of it there is the loft above the stage. So we do a lot of really great plays and musical performances and various different shows up there. And then to the right of that is the Grace Episcopal Church, and I'm flying from the parking lot there. And so I can get all these shots. It's one of the highest points in town, so you can go 1,000 feet around one side or the other. And that's the back side of the courthouse, and I'm outside the NFC by about probably 150 feet or so. So wasn't getting any kind of error message or anything as I flew there. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Eventually I'll put a link to the episode on Investigation Discovery's website. Again, I think it's called Chaos in Court or Court Chaos or something like that. That's a pretty view, isn't it? So that's all back off toward the northwest at that point. I think it's hard to see through the very far mountains there, but I'm pretty sure that's Mount Mitchell. That's the highest mountains way off in the distance. But you get kind of shrouded in the clouds. Now this is East Union Street going over to West Union Street. This is sort of I don't even know if the guys at ID understand it, but this is sort of the main thoroughfare in Morganton. Most of the cool shops and stuff are either down through that, or they're on Green Street, or they're on oh darn it. I'm having a hard time remembering the name. Sterling Street. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Again, off in the distance there, the white, that's First Baptist Church, the white steeple, and off to the right of that is a big comm tower that they put fake greenery on to kind of make it look more like a tree, but it's a big communications tower. I don't know if that's ever successful to do something that way. It looks kind of weird. So I came back around this way just to give them some alternate shots coming and going. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I have actually been featured in several, my video has been featured in several television shows before in the past. But I was one with Paul Zahn called The Aging of America. I'm trying to remember what the other one was called. But this one is neat to me because, like I say, Nikki and I, we watch hours and hours. If we're not watching YouTube videos or some of our favorite movies, then we are watching ID, Investigation Discovery Network content. We particularly like Homicide Hunter with Joe Kenda, but we like basically all of them, all the really good ones that are on there. We love to see how criminals kill people and how they get caught. I think it's pretty cool. So this is a Morganton Trading Company we're coming up on. The water tower there, just behind the water tower, the bottom part, the brick buildings is where Town Hall and all is. And I used to have an apartment in the place behind the water tower now, about where that water tower is. On the other side, I rented there for about 8 or 10 months before I bought my house. I lived in Conover for 18 years and then moved to Morganton and lived at close to that water tower there in those apartments. And then their old industrial an old industrial building been turned into apartments. It's a great place to live. It's awesome to just get out and to rent there and get out and walk around town, enjoy town. And I used to ride my bike all around town, but now I live over in Valdez. I was able to get a good house and a good deal on a house in Valdez. So here I am going back toward Comma, trying to remember what I did here. At some point I'll probably turn around and come backward a little. So this is what I sent to them. I sent them a 70 meg per second file. Even though the GoPro only shoot, or the DJI, it's a Phantom 1 Generation 1. It only shoots 60 megs a second, but I did do a little bit of correcting to it and cutting some stuff out of it, and I didn't want to degrade the video in any way, so I gave it to them at a higher bit rate than it even needed to be. Gave it to them at the highest bit rate. So I said I didn't want to take any data out with my edits so that they could go in and color correct it slightly. That looks kind of dark, but when you hit that with a shadows highlight or something, you'll be able to make that video all very usable. And so that's kind of a cool shot. To me, that's one of the prettiest mornings. Shot this at roughly, I guess about 7:45 or something is when I was out. So I shot it, I came out of the sky at about 8 to 10, something like that, 10 after 8. And yeah, there's a better shot of the auditorium complex in the foreground. And so I am standing in a parking lot not far from here at all. I'm just looking around a little bit, deciding, hey, do I have time to do one more run? Yeah, probably not. But still, that's pretty cool. Look at the skyline. Look back at if the clouds weren't so intense, you'd see Grandfather Mountain off to the right, but the clouds have it shrouded too. That's what's behind that kind of cloud bank off in the distance. And that is our public library down to the lower left now, the brick building. And I'll start coming down here just in a moment. And this video is drawing to end, but thought I would show you this. It's pretty cool. I'm going to get a credit in an ID production, which is kind of sweet. Again, I'm just a big fan. Anytime Investigation Discovery wants me to do a bit of video for them, I'll be glad to do it. It's a fun thing to do. It would be very cool to be watching one of my favorite episodes on television and see that. Peace to all who watch. Subscribe to the channel if you like. And this one is drawing to a close. Hit the bell if you'd like to see more videos and be notified when I post one. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.